Amit, if I may come to you on the same thing, really, if you were to be able to look into the future using today as the baseline, or well, the experience of the last 2.5 months as the baseline, would you say that you would see a fairly dramatic shift in how organizations would architect their security policies and their security strategies?
Uh, I short answer is yes, and I will like to continue what Rishi said. The BCP plans have failed. There is a massive acceptability of working from home model. In fact, I have thrown out my BCP plan off the record, and I just want to make it very, very simple. Instead of collecting tons of data and trying to reconcile here and there, it's going to be absolutely simple. Work from home and look at other things as well. Having said that, from a security perspective, I spoke about trust and we spoke about assurance of security to the customers, to the board. Now that has taken a very, very huge, significant step. Uh, the importance of security operations and the importance of designing the new architecture catering to this model is catching a lot of ground. A lot of people are seriously started thinking on those lines. So, providing that kind of assurance with new tools, with new technologies, and working on this domain will become paramount in the months to come, in the years to come, actually. We can always have, as Rishi said, that the tolerance to the alerts is reduced. The tolerance of the customers and board is also reducing, and they're very scared of things going bad. Few examples, recent examples of ransomware, etc.,
Yes.
Is putting the fear of God in almost everybody. And
Absolutely.
a lot of our customers who were earlier not bothered about security have started reaching out and asking about the controls that are in place and looking at more stringent actions to be taken. Okay, so there is a huge change in the world as to how they were looking at security. How they are getting assured on security. And this is driving the change on how to implement security and how to manage security going forward.
So, gentlemen, powerful and very impactful and very well articulated points. But therefore, if you were to, we have a very, very fine August audience here that would love to know, therefore, when you look to industry partnerships with service providers, especially in the endpoint space, what are your expectations in terms of the innovation and new solutions that they would bring to the table that would help you mitigate some of these challenges in perhaps a much more fashioned manner, in a much more comprehensive manner? Rishi, you want to take a stab at this, please? What is innovation that's going to really drive future security-related solutions and products in a manner that is more coupled with your business objectives and business outcomes?
Okay. So, Arjun, a lot of innovation will happen, right? So basically now it is an accepted model. People know that work at home is reality. A lot of large OEMs in the industry will start, and they've started working towards a work at home models. Now, and we can talk about technology, the endpoint controls, and we know the importance of an endpoint in the overall portion of the network. Now, people know that I can secure an asset, I can secure a computer. Now, the innovation is happening on mitigation of risk from a physical security perspective.
True.
Now, when you outsource some work to geographies like India, and you pick a bricks and mortar model, predominantly you have two things in mind. Your data is secured. It is secured from basically external threats as well as your internal threats. And you implement strong physical security controls as well. Now, we've spoken about some of the technology controls on endpoint. Now, and that there is innovation happening on that front too, but there is a lot of innovation happening on the physical security side as well. Can I really secure your work at home environment in a way that you are not able to click pictures of the customer screen? There's nobody shoulder surfing, right? And there is no impersonation. Means it is you that you're working, and it's not your cousin or it's not your friend,
Indeed.
right? And innovation related to noise cancellation when it talks about voice business, right? And when you have geographies like India, how do you cancel the external noise while you're speaking to the customer? We all know
Yes.
that working conditions in India, there can be PG accommodations,
Oh,
there
yes.
can be, so there is a lot of innovation happening on that front over and above the typical endpoint technology controls. So, and I see a lot of progress being made, and people understand this model is here to stay. And I think in a large ecosystem of OEMs and companies, we will see a lot of progress being made in making this successful.
Very, very, very. Amit, your views on that? There is going to be a dramatic shift for sure. How do you kind of quantify or qualify that?
No, this is in fact I happened to do a POC for a tool which was doing this, which Rishi mentioned, and the AI element of facial recognition is implemented. A person bringing a phone in front of the screen is captured and it raises an alert.
Wow.
A person, two faces coming up, it raises an alert. So from an employee productivity tools, which were taking insights into what is logging and what is not working on, to the stronger physical security controls, all this is happening. In fact, the company that presented to us, and we are working with them now just to do this, they were still in an IDE mode. They were picking up some module. Okay, I'll show you this. I'll show you this. We are still stitching this together, and all those things are happening. So, very interesting phase on innovation. A lot of innovation had actually happened on the mobility and the cloud perspective. Uh, it was again a culture and a mindset that people were not moving on to it. This COVID situation has changed that mindset. We've been discussing this again and again. BFSI people are happy to work from home,
Yes.
and despite this lockdown easing out, we have customers who've told that they'll come back to office in October.
Wow.
Okay, so uh, it is just that now that traction into moving on to those things will become very, very easy. A lot of thought process is changing on the tools that we had thought about in our strategy. Some of them, because of BFSI and on-prem things, we were thinking a lot on on-prem. All this has gone out of the window. So the innovation or the changes are happening from this work from home model, as Rishi and we've been talking about. So interesting times on innovation, uh, kind of putting a hold to the strategy element and spending money, because a lot of new interesting things are coming up. So good times ahead.
Oh, indeed. But it's very interesting that you should speak about innovation and good things coming ahead in times to come. Is in conversation after conversation that I've had with CIOs, IT leaders, line of business C-suite leaders, one thing that's perennially come up is the volumes of data that they are having to deal with. Uh, in fact, there was this one particular conversation I was having about a couple of days back where this gentleman mentioned that, well, by normal predictions, we were to have reached some 82 petabytes of data by 2022. But the last 2 months have shown us really that we've already crossed that mark. Now, Rishi, Amit, when you're working with these copious volumes of data that are fairly unprecedented, really never ever imagined before, how do you in your individual roles and in your profiles kind of beef up or augment the entire security strategy that you may have had about 4 months back and bring it to bear upon today's situation really?
So I think data volumes have grown exponentially high, and we've seen a
Yes.
rise in the cloud, and that's primarily because in COVID-19, where logistics was a nightmare, how would you think we would have bumped up VPNs or our
Yes.
security tools? So the companies had no other option but to go for cloud solutions, because clouds had capacity to bump up in scale, And suddenly we see whether it's endpoint related solutions or whether it's VPNs, they've all moved to either cloud or they've moved to a software model. So I think uh, one of the reasons of rise in the cloud and data is actually attributable to COVID-19. But and I think this trend is going to go up because people who were hesitant to go on cloud earlier are now realizing the benefits of it.